And yeah, anymore these days don't really have a problem with shedding a tear for things that actually move my soul, the things that matter to me and that make me feel emotion. I let it go, man. Let it flow. If it makes you sad, feel it and let it go through you. If it makes you angry, you've got to channel it into something. You got to channel it into work, exercise, projects. You know, you got to let it go though. You got to work it out. So in these days, I know people trip out because, you know, big tough guys, which I'm not saying that I'm some big tough guy, but you know, I'm a male, manly type, absolutely unapologetically, ridiculously male. And, you know, I am that person that will help a stranger, will put my own life on the line for someone else. And I'm also a little bit crazy. I'm also a little bit fucking psycho sometimes. Like, I'll fucking scare people every once in a while, and I'm not saying that to be like, oh, I'm fucking scared. It's just a reality of the people that actually know me. They probably see me cry and they're like, wow, you know, that's different because I never would expect you to be a crying type of person, you know. But this isn't new for me. It's new for me showing it to the world, people that know me. Because I'm not trying to hide that I have emotions and that I, like everybody else, need to work through them. And the repression and the holding on to them puts them in the shadow, puts them into the place where you do not deal with them, and they fester and they turn into anger, hate, and defeat. So it's very important to go through these emotions. That's part of shadow work. When you're diving into your deeper, darker aspects, they're gonna dig up some things in your past. It's gonna make you feel emotions that you may want to run to the bottle. You may want to pick up a joint. You may want to do whatever drug you're into. You may want to, whatever, it'll trigger you into doing something. And sometimes that something just needs to be a cry or exercise or whatever. You know, I go for huge hikes in the heat with a lot of weight and, you know, physically work it out, sweat it out. But with this overabundance of horror in the media and these actions that are going on in the public and in our society and in the world, it is, I want to say, necessary for people to take that time, reflect, and if you feel horrible about it, don't be a tough guy and hold it in, because it's going to make you turn that to your shadow, and then it will fester, and then you'll start acting on the things that you don't want to work through. A lot of times we're doing the horrible things that we're doing because they are reflecting a part of us that we don't want to deal with, and our unwillingness to work through and go through what we're avoiding in ourselves is what causes us to attack others, because those others they've gone through it. And we see that weaker person, that smaller person, that, you know, perceived nothing person, they're nothing compared to me type person, right? We look at them in the eye and see that they seem free. They seem to have some sort of knowledge that we don't have, and it upsets people. It makes them angry, because what makes them so happy? How can they seem so free in themselves and so comfortable just being, when all I know is anger, fear, and defeat? I'm so frustrated and da-da-da. It's an inner conversation. It's a dialogue that you're not letting go past a certain point. You're stopping, you're shutting it down. You know, a lot of us, we have gotten to that point at some point of our lives where we're right there on the cusp, on the precipice of working through that shadow. And we're like, ooh, I don't like this. I don't want to cry. I don't want to feel this. I don't want to. And we shut it down right there on the edge. And it's just sitting there. But the longer you avoid it, the more it goes to the shadow, and it starts to act through you to resist you dispelling it. That's one of the tricks of evil, is dark forces are aware of psychology, spiritual warfare, psychological warfare, psychic warfare. You think the dark side doesn't believe in this? You don't think the witches and the demons, the evil in the world, doesn't know and use these things to their advantage? That's part of what I did enjoy when I was a youth and going through my satanic, witchcraft, fucking demonology phase, was the freedom of that side. The willingness to let things be what they are and accept them as they are. Horrible, fantastic, whatever it is that. And you feel it and you go through it. Emotions aren't stifled, because emotions in the magical realm, in witchcraft realm, is where the power resides. It's where it comes from. Strong emotion is the fuel for all magic. Every act that you impose on the world with your will is brought forth through your emotion, whether it be good, bad, or otherwise. As long as it's strong, heartfelt, it is foundationally something you can create magic upon. You can manifest through any strong emotion. That's why it's so important to know yourself, to work through these things. I do all this myself, but I've been reading and working, and I started out in the psychological field, and that was my first job. I stayed in that realm of behavioral working with disabled adults for about 6 years. So that was my first place that I actually had my dive into psychology on the daily and working with people and their behaviors. And the number one thing that I did learn is behaviors they're really driven by people's reactions and our desires being fulfilled. What we want drives it, but what we want from others and our attainment of what we want from others are the main drivers of behavior. How you're perceived matters, because how we see ourselves being perceived is very closely tied to how we perceive ourselves of being capable to achieve what we want. We see it as, if we act like this person will like us and they will open the door for us, or they'll accept us. And it all keeps going back to the church of self, self-righteousness, self-importance, and the lack of selflessness.